Hey guys, Uncle Ray. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Bellwether. I don't always tell you what you want to hear, but I tell you what you need to hear to make an informed decision. Well, you're going to need to hear this, and this is not clickbait. But when you do the research about banking tokens and what the legacy banking system is trying to do, I'm here to tell you they have solidified their legacy banking system and they're not going anywhere. Now, what if I told you there is a blockchain out there that no one that I know of has mentioned ever? And I punched it up on YouTube, not one video came out. Well, that blockchain is called TASSAT, and it has done more transactions in the banking sector than the top probably 5 blockchains that are dealing with banking right now combined. They are absolutely dominating, and FEDNOW brought it to light. Well, I'm going to share that information with you guys, and I can promise you probably 20% of the people watching this is going to get triggered, and the rest of you guys hopefully will appreciate the hard work it takes to uncover this information. And it's just information. Do with it as you will. Now, before we dive into it, I'm going to give you a famous quote from Mark Twain, and I say this with love, but some of you need to hear it. No amount of evidence will ever persuade an idiot. All right, guys, let's get into it. I woke up this morning about 6:15. I was having my coffee. I flipped open my phone and I got a email or a message from one of my subscribers that I talk to all the time, and he was asking me about Cyhereium. Now, if you watch my channel, I have created probably 2 or 3 very powerful videos about Cyhereium. I own it, and I get most of my information, as much as I can, straight from the source. Well, come to find out, that FedNow relationship, I'm thinking it's BS. So I'm going to clear that up. But guys, in the process of going down that rabbit hole to see where Cyhereium was with FedNow, I uncovered a lot of stuff. Now, it took me about 7 straight hours of going down the rabbit hole and reading a lot of information I didn't want to uncover this, but I'm glad I did, because now I understand that the legacy banking system, and like Wall Street and all the powerful entities in the world that run banking and the flow of money, guys, they're about 65% through with their roadmap. They are putting the pieces together, and honestly, at least for me, it can't be denied. So I'm going to walk you through that, and it's not all bad news. If you stay with me at the end, I'll tell you why it's not bad news. But guys, it's reality, whether we want to hear this or not, and people can spin it any way they want. But the legacy banking system have basically disrupted the disrupting technology, because guys, they got it going on, and that's why you see all this chaos in the marketplace right now. It's chaos to us, and we don't like what we see, and we don't like all the attacks on the stable coins and the exchanges and all that. But guys, I'm telling you, the legacy banking system of Wall Street and the U.S. government, they got a plan, and they're just working it, and they're literally about 60-65% through with it, from what I can tell. Well, let's get into it. Now, my last video, I was pretty pumped on Cyhereium, and for whatever it's worth, I'm standing accountable. I did the video, but as you can see on the screen, there's a link from the federalreserve.gov. That's where I got all the information from my last video. Well, right now, you can click on that link, and it will take you to the link at the federalreserve.gov. But if you go to the federalreserve.gov website and you start from scratch, it will not pull up this information, and we'll get back to that. Now, it led me down a lot of holes this morning. And quite frankly, you might find this kind of humorous idea, but I want to show you how hard I work for you guys and how much information I try to uncover straight from the source. This email I just got back a couple hours ago, but at 7:41 this morning, I emailed Cyhereium and I said, look, what's the BS? What's going on? Now, they emailed me back. They didn't answer me, but if you can see it, it says, Dear Ray Meadows, we'll reach out to you shortly. So hopefully, I'm going to get it directly from the source. But as far as I can tell, guys, Cyhereium doesn't have anything to do with FEDNOW. They did a 180. I think they really did have maybe even a contract in place, but the Fed pulled the rug and went a whole different way. And I've uncovered that different way, and you need to understand this, because look, it's going to help tell you what bags to stack, maybe how much of those bags you want to stack, and maybe that you might want to take profits a little earlier than you were before. Anyway, now when you dive into the FEDNOW, for instance, what's on the screen, it says FEDNOW, the Federal Reserve's alternative to blockchain and CBDCs, will launch in July. Well, when you dig into the FEDNOW, they make it clear we do not use blockchain technology. Now, they get into the technical aspect of what they use, but guys, I can't, decipher that. It's kind of like, how is it that Venmo or Cash App seems to do the same thing as blockchain? I don't know how it works, but I know the Fed is not using blockchain. Now, that led me to the FEDNOW Instant Payment, network website. And there's a wealth of information if you want to spend hours just reading boring stuff and not getting anywhere. I've done it. But when you click on this part down here, this Instant Payment University, I was diving into it. Now, here's what they have set up. You have the FEDNOW system, whatever that's made up of. They want to link the entire world to it, basically. Definitely every entity that deals in American money, in the US dollar. Now, the way they have it set up, they have a lot of different vendors, or whatever you want to call them, that can help people join the FEDNOW system. Now, when you go through that, it doesn't say like HBAR, XLM, or Ripple, or none of that. It's basically different type companies. Some of them are even banks or payment centers. Some of them are consultants. A lot of different entities can help hook you into the FEDNOW. But that's just for you to decide. I don't know how many there are, maybe 125. However, in their paperwork, I came across a suggestion that said you need to take a look at TASSAT, TASSAT. It's TASSAT Group, which is a blockchain. They have a blockchain. Well, when I dove into it, it blew me away. Now, I'm here to tell you guys, I don't know what you guys think about who's going to, get the lion's share of the banking reset or all that. A lot of you I know think it's going to be Ripple and all that. Hey, I'm here to tell you, if you go to this website and some other spots I'm going to show you along this, well, it will show you who is actually leading this charge in the banking sector. That banking reset is just going to be an update, an upgrade from the legacy banking system going into like Web3 and the new technology. Nothing is going to change. It's going to look different, but the money, the big money, the people doing cross-border payments, the people that are, serving the world's customer in the banking system, that is not going to change whatsoever. And actually, I believe they're going to grab more share. Now, check this website out. I'm just going to walk you through a little bit of it. But guys, go to TASSAT.com. Check it out. Look at this. Transform your bank into high-growth financial service powerhouse. That's exactly what they're doing. It says, TASSAT Pay offers seamless, secure path to private permission blockchain-based commercial banking. Now, check this out, guys. And this is Business Wire. If you Google TASSAT successfully completes launch of digital interbank network, which remember that name, interbank network, it gives you a wealth of information. Let's look at some of these mind-blowing numbers. This is when they just launched. It basically said they completed over 500 million in transactions in the first 8-hour period. First ever blockchain to have interoperability, and it says groundbreaking launch March, first ever moment for banking and blockchain interoperability. Private permission blockchain offers unmatched security, privacy within the existing regulatory framework. Now, if you just read all this, guys, which I'm not going to do it, but it talks about how basically they work within the lines, they work with the existing banks, the existing regulatory compliance, the FDIC, SEC, everybody. It talks about in here, the banks have been in charge and providing service for over 100 years, and we're going to help them continue for the next 100 years. And guys, I'm here to tell you, they've got it covered. Now let's keep going. Now I want you to look at this. Yeah, let's back up. I want to show you something else on their website. It was such a big number, I had to verify it because quite frankly, I didn't believe it. Now check this out. On their website, it says, with over 1 trillion in secure real-time transactions, TASSAT Pay is the most trusted blockchain-based platform for FDIC insured banks. I didn't believe it, so I had to verify it, and that led me to this. And this is another article that just verified it. It said blockchain bank payment solution TASSAT Pay logs 1 trillion transactions, not $1 trillion, trillion transactions. I thought HBAR was a world beater. I think they're at 4 billion, maybe 4.5 billion now. Guys, this is mind-blowing, and we have never heard that name. At least I haven't. Now check this out. I just want to read a few things about how this is a powerhouse. TASSAT works with both state and federally regulated banks. TASSAT's mission is to provide FDIC insured banks with the tools to compete with and win in the increasingly digital economy. Now, I watched a lot of podcasts and went through a lot of videos and read a lot of paperwork about this company and their CEO, etc. And he literally coined the phrase, we are disrupting the disruptors, right? So basically, I have no doubt that a couple of years ago, when Ripple rolled out its ODL, it was a slap in the face and a wake-up call to the legacy banking system. Well, guys, this company literally came to the rescue. Now, one of the videos, which I highly recommend you watch, he said this. He said, here's our game plan. Now, I want y'all to think about it. For instance, and it's not just Ripple, there is a lot of competition. But imagine Ripple basically rolling into the banks and rolling into Swift and all that. And they said, look, we got the disruptive technology. Either you work with us or we'll put you out of business. We'll make you obsolete. Now, this company walked into them and said, hey, you know that company Ripple? We can do everything they can do and then some. But not only that, when you do your cross-border payment, well, we'll give you that liquidity as well. But what are you going to do with that money? Why is that money here? And he gave a lot of different examples, right? That money is going to have to be put in a different account. It's going to have to be logged in for taxes. It's going to have to be logged in for regulation, etc., etc. They have all that software, and they're tying it in together, and then they go from there. Now check this out. So go to their website and then go to their Twitter account, guys. And I'm telling you, when you go find all this information, and check this out, 473 followers. This is the world beater blockchain in banking, and nobody has been talking about it. And you know what really got me going down these rabbit holes is I did a video and they interviewed one of the head guys at Polygon Labs, and he said, look, the corporations around the world are just going full blast into building out crypto projects and blockchain projects, metaverse projects, gaming, you name it. Every one of them has a game plan, and they are wide open. They're hiring developers as fast as they can find them. He goes, but they're not talking about it because think about how competitive, whether you're Coca-Cola or Starbucks or whatever, you're not going to roll out your new blockchain technology that is going to leap you in front of your competition, right? If you're doing stuff in the metaverse, you don't want to notify your competitors till you're ready to roll. So that really opened my eyes. Now, for whatever this is worth, guys, the dominant players in crypto and in blockchain and in Web3 and metaverse pretty much are corporations. They are going to totally dominate this space for sure. Follow the money. That's what I do. The big money. Doesn't matter what we like. I don't like any of this. I wish this was all decentralized, corporate or decentralized blockchain foundations and stuff like that, but it's not, guys. Corporate America, the governments, Wall Street, they're still going to dominate just like they have. But anyway, go through and just watch some of these videos. I watched every single one of them, and it gave me a wealth of information, and that's why I can confidently say that, look, the legacy banking system, they've won, guys. It's settled. Now, don't worry. All the banking tokens and all the tokens with utilities and the DLT, the distributed ledger technology, they're all going to do well. But that video right there, he goes through how they pitched all the banks and the 3 tiers that they offer the banks. So guys, go check it out, and I think it'll answer all your questions. Now just look at this. Here's some of the use cases. Maritime finance, world capital management, logistics, private equity, commercial construction, healthcare, franchise. Guys, not only are they doing cross-border payments and everything else, they've combined it into a package, and they're tying it all together. Now, if you want to know how it all works, this is the gist of it, because like I said, it's about 65% complete. I mean, they are just checking things off left and right. But basically, you've got like the SWIFT network, right? We know how that works. We have the legacy banking system. We have Wall Street. We have all the exchanges like the NASDAQ and the London Stock Exchange and the Commodity Exchange. You have all those entities, right? Then you have the ecosystem of Bitcoin, which stands alone because it's so unique. Well, you have all these different entities. Now, I don't know where the centerpiece actually is. It may be TASSAT Blockchain, but either way, it ties in to the Fed. So all this is going to tie in together. There's going to be, now, these are the players, the big money. Everyone, there's going to be another 1,000, 10,000, maybe 100,000 entities trying to get a piece of this pie. I don't care about them. These are the players. This is the smart money, the big money that I want to follow. Now, here's the good news before you guys panic. First of all, when I tried to track if TASSAT has blockchain partners, because I know, for instance, the XRP Army is going to go crazy and say, well, they're using XRP. Well, I Googled it for 20 minutes. They have no relationship with Ripple or XRP. Now, they basically, when you dive into it, I didn't finish. I missed something I should have shared with you guys. It's called the Digital Internet. It's the Digital Internet Network. Go click on that right there, guys. That's what they have created. It's the Digital Internet Network. And who I could track was R3. I couldn't track XDC directly. However, the two entities, bar none, that I tracked was Link and Quant. Now, right now, with the Digital Interbank Network, Quant is working to tie in 12 CBDCs in Latin America. And guys, this is not a partnership that is a maybe or a test. They basically have partnered with Quant and said, get it done. So the way I see everything panning out roughly in the future is, by the way, they have a partnership with Google, JP Morgan, and a lot more powerhouse corporations around the world. Now, but the way I see this kind of playing out is that you're going to have all those entities like FEDNOW and the banks and all those. But when you hear, they're all going to have, for the most part, private permission blockchains. Now, I want you to think, when you hear either of those things, I want you to think interoperability or gap. Because here's the deal. DLT and all those ledgers, whether it's Hyperledger or whatever, those are going to fill the gaps. Your HBAR, your XRP, your XLM, definitely Quant and Link. No ifs and buts about it. They're going to fill those gaps. And they're going to get their share. But no way, shape, or form is the lion's share going to, Web3 and any of these foundations. It's just not going to happen. Quant or Link could get the lion's share of the interoperability, but outside that, it's not going to happen. Now, what else I could track is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, a couple of things that I see that's probably going to play out is, I know with JP Morgan and some of the legacy banking systems and the central banks, and I don't know if the Fed's involved or not, they are basically tying those banks together. All right, they all have their private, they link those privates together, and they're going to have one huge pool of money, right? One big liquidity pool. All those Nostro accounts, they're going to kind of combine them, and they're not going to have any liquidity issues in the future. Now, also, another thing that they're going to solve with liquidity is they're going to have their own stable coin probably, or their deposit tokens like I did before, and I talked about before in that other video. They're going to have the CBDCs. Those guys, think about it. In the future, there's going to be so many ways to do cross-border payments. No matter what token, I mean, there's going to be hundreds of options to, if you've got the Swiss franc and you want to switch that to dollars or whatever, you can use any stable coin. You'll be able to use any CBDC. You'll be able to use the deposit tokens. There's going to be an unlimited amount of options. Now, the banks are going to be able to use stable coins, have their own stable coin, or use the CBDC that's going to be backed up by their deposits. Now, in the future, and this is where Bitcoin and Ethereum really come into play, is we know how they've already passed a law that I think it's 2% the banks can hold or house 2% of like Ethereum and Bitcoin in these custody accounts that we've heard about, like with the Bank of Mellon. Well, fast forward in the future when crypto goes mainstream, those custody accounts that are linked to the banks are going to have Bitcoin and Ethereum sitting there, just like they have our money sitting there now. Well, they'll be able to use like Bitcoin or Ethereum to do cross-border payments because they'll use our money for the backing. So that gives them so many avenues for liquidity. Anyway, guys, I know I'm rambling on, but I'm here to tell you things have changed and the legacy banking system has basically solidified their dominance in the world. Now, the other banking tokens and ISO, all that's going to tie in together. The ATMs, SWIFT, all that ties in to TASSAT, and it's going to tie into the FEDNOW system. And there's going to be literally 100,000 different entities all tied in together. And that's where the utility tokens that we all know and love, called banking tokens, we used to call them ISO20022 Compliant tokens, whatever you want to call them, they're going to do well. Now, that being said, Cyhereium, to get back to that, I own it. The only thing that about it for me, as far as my concern, it's still going to do well. It's still a rally, and instead of having that 20x maybe token, it's probably, I'm going to sell mine at a 2 or 3x and move on. Now, it happens to all of us, but I got my information straight from the source for whatever that's worth, and it's going to happen from time to time. That being said, guys, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. We're going to keep you informed about everything in crypto, the banking tokens, the AI tokens, the hot tokens, the hot sectors. Because, guys, I'm telling you, even though it feels negative, because there's nothing positive going on in the crypto world and in the global economic, with the global economy and the U.S. economy and with the SEC, and everyone's attacking crypto, but the corporations and the governments are all just working behind the scenes, guys. I'm telling you, it's ready to explode. Anyway, that's all I got for you. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And either way, hit that like button and come back and be part of this community. Take care.